Welcome, everybody. We're happy to see you and join this group in Crestone, Colorado, waiting for Earthstock to begin. This is our Walking in the Moonlight with the Wisdom Council, and we're going to talk a little bit about our walk that's brought us here today. So the first part of my walk that I want to share an example is a song that I'm releasing that Michael joined me in the drumming for. So you're going to hear Michael drumming a beat that's really kind of complicated that the Thunders brought in, and I could not get it. I could just get it enough to pass it along to him, and then he got it and joined us, and we're just going to play 2 minutes of that song, and then we're going to give you guys a little sneak preview of the dance songs that Michael and I collaborated on for next Saturday as part of Earthstock, the dance with the 4 elements. We're going to start out dancing with air, and then fire, then water, then earth. So we're going to give you a little sneak preview with that and get things rolling here so that I'm afraid some people are going to have to go, but glad to have all of you joining us. And here's 2 minutes of a peaceful song in Salagi, my ancestral language. That's an example of how I've been walking in the moonlight on the way to Crestone with Michael Dimartino in collaboration with the song and the next one. So Pamela, whenever you're ready, I invite you all just to settle into 2 minutes of peaceful song. Yeah, thank you, Pamela. So you get to see the mountains that my ancestors hid in to resist the Trail of Tears and the reservation the federal government calls Cherokee. That video is of these mountains in our homeland and the peaceful serenity that we found now at this time. And it's very in sync with what SD is going to share with us today about, and in his presentation during the summit, decolonization, which is the thing that we need to put into action. That is the walk in this moonlight that we all can begin. Fortunately, we can begin this walk together. We can do this, as people coming together in community, in unity, and becoming all one. It's very beautiful. And in unity with the elements. So I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of the song that we'll be dancing to on Saturday to join with those elements, and let you have a chance to hear again the walk that Michael and I have been doing in collaborating and creating music and creating transformation dances, because ritual is actually a basic human need. Our ancestors, when we reach back to the beginning of this wave of humans, we all share ancestors, and we all came in with this basic human need to gather in community in ritual. And ritual is simply doing the same thing so that we all become one. When we do the same thing, we become one. And these dances that we're going to do next Saturday are dance your own dance, your own way, but do the hand movements together. There's 4 really simple hand movements that go with this guidance in the dance, and Azza's there. She's going to be on site leading the dance, and I'm going to be on screen on Zoom leading the dance. So I've always wanted, since the beginning of these dances a couple years ago, to have them both happen in person in community and on Zoom in community. And we've got a beautiful dance community in Zoom that we've been gathering with. And so it's finally happening, And welcome, Andrew. You're en route to Crestone. I see you're in the airport flying into Denver, or already in Denver. I don't know, but we're glad
Yeah,
you
I'm in
came.
Denver.
Yes, you're in Denver. Okay, you're probably waiting for your ride to Crestone.
No, actually, Arthur got a flat tire, so he got a delay, but I'm taking a later flight to Alamosa, and he's picking me up there, so it's fine.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You'll be joining everybody. See our little group over in the corner in the Colorado College Conference Room. That's where a lot of this is going to take place, and hopefully the technology will be getting easier. But right now we're going to share what we've been doing with our Walking in the Moonlight. And this is some music that Michael Dimartino and I created to dance to next Saturday. So I'm hoping you'll all be there. And Pamela, if you'll give us like a 2-minute sneak peek at this song that's on SoundCloud. Whenever you're ready, Pamela. This is the Earth song, the Dance with Earth element. And it'll actually be the last song that we're doing, and you'll hear the first guidance and a little bit of Michael's voice, his vocals as well. I was hoping he would be here for this. I don't know if he's even heard him yet, but here goes. Whenever you're ready, Pamela. Sorry, we don't have a video. Spirit and matter walking together with Earth as human form. The third thing, uniting 3 worlds with 4 elements. May we stay at our highest and best in balance.
earth is our mother. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her.
Our body has an agreement with our spirit. The human mind can barely observe, even at the most trying times. May we honor this precious life. It comes from so many.
All creation is a circle. Connected by the Mother Earth. We circle around. We circle around. The four corners of the earth.
All life on Earth and beyond is intricately supported by interdependence. The dirt of this round blue planet has been and is becoming
Wearing
all
our
that
long
is
wing
every
feathers.
form of life.
We circle around. We circle around. Omotaka Yasu. Omotaka Yasin. We circle around with all our relations.
We turn the world to spirals in the original ways of this wave of humans, where we all share ancestors. Sleeping dreams offer wild food from my soul, with love knowing forever. Okay, you got to hear the whole song. Given a little time for things to get settled in Crestone. Give you guys a chance to settle in and come into sync with that music. Let your hearts come into sync with all of us in the room so that SD from our Wisdom Council can speak to us about decolonization now. Whenever you're ready, SD.
Now,
Okay.
can you hear us now?
Yeah, we can hear you quite well. Thank you.
In February I was in India, and I like to spend time with different tribes. And I think all indigenous people are different facets of one tribe. Is the way I see it. And so I was staying with the Buddhist tribe, and I decided to compose a song to honor their Dharma, their way of teaching, the way of life. And so today we just came from the stupa, and I haven't sang this song before except on my own. And I sang this song at the stupa of enlightenment. And so I'll just sing it here because not everybody got to hear that. This is a song based on Om Mani Padme Hum, all hail to the jewel in the lotus, which is essential.
I just want to let you know that you're talking to them there.
Oh, okay.
Not
I should look there. Okay.
Yeah, so they see you.
All right. So, to talk about decolonization, simply that, we have a history of decolonization. And it's a violent, unfortunately, a violent history. I think the first step for some people might be to make some peace with that, to realize what has been done. And my own people were Salagi people from the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, Tennessee, the area I grew up. And you know, in 1838 was the Trail of Tears, but long before that, my ancestors saw what was coming, and they went west. And first they settled in Arkansas, which the government said they could stay there, but they still felt an encroachment from their colonizer neighbors, and they kept going. They wound up in what is now Texas, but was then Mexico. And there they formed a community with the permission of the Mexican government. And so the name of my tribe is Salagi and Adagi and associated tribes, because there are actually 12 tribes. The Cherokee went west, they got permission of that land, they established a community. And at that time, tribes were being decimated all over. There were fugitives, refugees, seeking safety, and the Cherokee community took them in and said, you will become us, you will become part of us. And they had a community functioning there. And they had Cherokee, and they had Shawnee, and Choctaw, Kickapoo, remnants of all these tribes. And so they functioned for a while, but eventually they stayed neutral in the war for Texas independence. But after that was over, Sam Houston, who had been adopted and married into the Cherokee tribe, was president of Texas, of the Republic of Texas, and he protected them. But once he got out of office, then the Texas troops attacked them, and they massacred many of them, and the rest of them took refuge in Oklahoma and Mexico, or in the back thickets. So eventually the people came out, recognized or reclaimed their legacy. And so today it is a state recognized tribe that is federally recognized by Mexico. So, you know, there's a tradition of the Cherokee being open-hearted people. And like many of the native tribes, they welcomed the European settlers to begin with, but then as time went on, they encroached more and more, and they stole more and more, and there was conflict. And so those people were, like I say, hurt people. You know, the Europeans had a bad history. There was the Roman conquest, where they were colonized by Romans, and then there was the witch hunts and the plagues, and then went through a lot of stuff. So when they came to the new land, they named America, and they were looking for safety and freedom. And they encountered people that had freedom, which was the Haudenosaunee. They had a democratic system established by the peacemaker, where they actually had a degree of freedom. And that was something new, actually, to the European colonists, to have a system of government that allowed each man freedom. And so it had a very large effect on the new United States government, and some of that influenced the writing of the Constitution of the United States of America. Unfortunately, they missed some important parts, which was the power of women, because they didn't give them a vote, and the equality of all people. So that's why Abraham Lincoln could later say that 77 years ago, our forefathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. well, it didn't start out that way. It was worded that way, but there's been a lot of struggle to really realize the truth that was embodied there, because there have been people have had to stand up for their rights. So, and there has been a lot of progress made. But I guess my main message is that we live in a colonized world. Really, it's everywhere. Everybody got this idea of they could go somewhere and just take whatever land they want and do what they want with it, because their holy book told them they had dominion, and so they exercise it in that way. But it's led today where for someone, I mentioned colonization, and they say, well, that happened a long time ago. And well, that's not happened a long time ago. It's still happening today because of the way, even just in the way that we think. We can, what is for my benefit? What can I do? How much money can I make out of that land over there? How much money can I benefit from it? But so it's been based on rights. Everybody talking about my rights. But the native way of looking at things is more, what is my responsibility to that land, to the life that depends on that land? What is my responsibility to that? And I think people need to first look at the ways that we think that are colonized. So, there's a man, Grandfather David Mononga, I knew was a Hopi elder and a teacher of the prophecy of the Hopis. I had heard him deliver that a number of times, but there's an incident that really exemplifies what I'm talking about, where he was invited to visit Lama Foundation in New Mexico. And at the time that he came, they have different things there, a lot of spiritual workshops, but a lot of building and farming and different things like that. So there was a solar technology workshop going on. And so he was there several days. He didn't say a word about it. But one day, as he walked by, and they had a group listening to a lecture, and someone said, Grandfather David, what do you say about solar energy? And they expected praise, but what he said was no good. And they're shocked. Why is it no good? Ask permission. Because it's the colonized way of thinking is that we can take whatever we want, and there's no exchange. But the native way of life is that you pray for everything. There was this New Age guru type who one time said, I don't have to ask anyone for permission to do anything that I want to do. That's not the native way of life. That's the colonized way of thinking. Because like I had another teacher one time that said, I don't know, maybe I will step today on a piece of grass I wasn't supposed to do. And so to think twice about anything that you do, to ask permission of the land, of the nature surrounding, all depends on it, so that whatever you do is done in harmony and balance and for the good of all, not just for one or not just for a few. That's one perspective that is very apparent to me about the way we think. If we start to live according to some of the best teachings that I've come across, that I call the grandfather teachings that tell us how to live a good life. That is a respect and love and honesty and humility, courage, generosity, and wisdom. And I think if we could follow our lives by these things, and whoever has heard of these things, But fortunately, it has been passed on. It is there to learn. I think that the indigenous people have wisdom that is necessary for the survival of life in this world. And if there are any questions further on that subject, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, thank you, SD. That's very beautiful.
So, but if we have time, I could do a little story too.
Sure. Yeah, please.
There's this the traditional Cherokee story called The Most Precious Thing. So the story is that in the old days, before the coming of the white man, each village would have its chief. It would have actually, there were two chiefs. There's a peace chief and a war chief. Peace chief, called the Ulu, would usually be in charge of things, but if they ever went to war, the war chief would take over. So this certain village had lived in peace, prosperity for some time under the guidance of a very wise chief. And people loved him and revered him very much. But one day he called the people together and said, it will soon come my time to leave this world, go back to the Creator. And I don't know who is capable of walking in my footsteps. And so I propose a test to choose a successor. And he wore a feathered cloak, which was the symbol of his authority, his chieftainship. And said, I will pass on this cloak to a person who could, and pointed in the distance, there was a mountain. And climb that mountain, go to the top of it. Bring back the most precious thing that you can find. So that was in the next morning, all the people gathered together. And one man, he volunteered, he said, I will do that. So he left, he took off running toward that mountain. And the day went by, and as the sun was getting low in the sky, he returned. And he had a bundle. All the people came together, made a big circle to see what he had. He unwrapped the bundle. And there were all these herbs. There was different kinds of plants and leaves and stems and roots, berries. And he said, these are very rare and powerful herbs. He says, these are very hard to find and they're expensive if you do find them. But with these, we could keep ourselves strong and healthy. And the chief said, very good. The next morning, the next brave, he volunteered, he says, I will try. And he took off. Again, gone all day, and so sun getting low in the sky, he comes back with a bundle also. He laid his bundle down, opened it, and there was all these precious stones with emeralds and rubies and diamonds. He says, see all this? I found a cave up there that has all these beautiful and valuable stones. He says, we could trade these to other tribes and have whatever we want. And the chief says, good job. The next day, the third warrior took off running. And it was hardly noon. He came running back as fast as he could. He said, Chief, everybody came together there in a circle. And said, Chief, I climbed that mountain and I saw the place where there were all the herbs. But I remembered you said go to the top. So I kept going. past the cave with all the valuable stones. I kept going. When I got to the top, I looked off in the distance, and I could see very, very far. And I saw smoke signals coming from the western horizon. He says, Chief, those are our relatives. I said, those people that say they've had a drought, they've had an epidemic of disease, and they've been attacked by enemies. They need help. He said, I don't care about being cheap. They need help. We need to go. Before he had finished speaking, the chief had taken the feather cloak off and put it on his shoulders. He said, you have found the most precious thing, that is caring about others. So he became a chief that very loved and honored, and he led his people in the best way that anyone could for all the days of his life. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful story. Thank you so much, SD. And that is our walk in the moonlight for this month with our wisdom council. And does anybody have any questions for SD or for anyone at this time?
Thank you, Gail. I want to thank you and the Grandmother Council for making this space and bringing SD to us to hear this story, this wisdom that needs to be shared. Thank you so much.
Mado.
Thank you, Shan.
Thank you, Gail and SD and all who are present here in this circle. And I would like to offer the graphic that I shared a couple times in the chat. That's a powerful framing of this conversation for me. It shares a circle of unity with all beings as the indigenous way. We are one. We need each other. And it shares a pyramid of ego, the Western colonial religious way. I am the one, you need me. That helps me when I'm struggling with this process to reframe it in a visual and embodied way. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sylvia. We turn the world to circles. Yeah, just open your mic and ask your question. No need for raising hands.
I was curious, who did the music right before SD started storytelling?
That was composition that Michael and I created for the dances with the elements that we're going to do next Saturday as part of Earthstock. That was the dance with the element of earth. So it was a
That was
collaboration.
beautiful. And thank
Thank
you, SD, for I don't even know if stories is the right, your wisdom. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with what you've learned, and that's appreciated. And when, you talk about the colonization, it's one of my medicine groups I'm in. The first time I had ever heard it was, by my prayer guy, and he was kind of saying it at first, the way I took it with having so much white in me and only just a tiny bit of Indian, and never, like, my whole life, I didn't know why I always had dreams, and everybody said, like, these things were crazy. And so I guess in my older life and the things that I've experienced and I've seen, and integrating that, the stories, what caught my attention is you started to talk about the Trail of Tears. And that's something that's specific to my own family. And I have my great grandma's journals that she wrote about, going to Oklahoma and raising 3 kids on a dirt floor tent. And, even the wisdom that came out of that. She said, you can be dirt poor and not be dirty, and so, and then seeing her be half Indian and colonized by, like, she had her Bible, and I still have, it's the irony in I appreciate you addressing the colonization and expanding. I'd like it if you would expand a little more on decolonizing your mind, I guess. Your life, not your right action and right thought. That's what I think.
Well,
I would like to share a little story. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
okay. So colonization is based on privilege. And I think it's some of these things are coming up nowadays that people never even thought about before. The realization that, for instance, you may have white privilege because of your color that you never even thought about, with taking it for granted that everybody has this, and everybody doesn't have that. That's a realization that's important to have, to realize your unconscious privilege. And and even well-meaning people, I think, have these patterns of thought, and that's one of them, to have assumed privilege and take it for granted. So, and cultural appropriation is very much along that line. It's based on privilege, because some people get very offended if you even hint that they took something that they shouldn't have. And I've heard it said a number of times, if someone is challenged, there was a woman who was a white woman. And there's she was a weaver, and she learned how to do Indian weaving from Navajo people, but then she took it for granted that she could take anything from England and copy it. And she made an instrument that is used in a certain ceremony that she'd never been to, she didn't know anything about, but yet she copied it. And to me, that's no different than a museum taking something sacred from a tribe and putting it in a showcase. But she had a violent reaction to my suggesting that she did anything wrong. And she poked her chest and said, "It's my right, and I will do it if I want to." Very angry and violent way. So, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people who think like that. And I know some of us, including myself, we may have done things like that without thinking twice about it. But there's a great teaching that I highly recommend, that you could find very easily. It's the Indian Code of Ethics, and there's 20 of them. One of them says, it's never touch anything never take anything from anyone without permission, whether it be from nature or from a person or from a culture. And that is just comes down to basic respect, which is one of the 7 grandfather teachings. And I think that a good way to, a good guide for us is to stop and think, whatever it is you do in life, are you doing it with respect for where it came from, for what it represents, and who brought it? So I think it's important to have that consciousness and be aware of those things.
Yes, that is so important. And I want to add to that, if I may, the respect for your ancestry, Carla, and everyone doesn't go along with the system of blood quantum. In our traditional ways, the grandmothers recognize our people. And that is the way that it is established. You know, there's the mother's clan, and then there's the grandmother's recognition for people. The only thing that blood quantum applies to is dogs and horses, and the government trying to get out of their obligations to the treaties and the reservations through this method of deceit. So that one drop of Cherokee blood can be recognized by the grandmothers and honored. And you can ask those ancestors who've done their work to guide this process of healing those wounds. And I really encourage you to do that. I actually have an article in the Earthstock magazine that just came out today on how to do this, how to ask the ancestors to guide this process of healing these wounds and reaching back to the ancestors beyond the names that we know, and also beyond everything, beyond the wounding that we've all suffered when we reach back far enough. And we don't have to know those ancestors because they know us. And they will guide that process in a very synchronistic, circular, quantum physics kind of way that brings us the healing that we all need right now to address these issues that are so important. So thank you for that question, Carla. And I see Becky also has a question.
Hi everyone, grandmothers, grandfathers. I just wanted to share a little story because the title of, is everyone able to hear me?
Barely. You've got some echo. If you've got original sound on, can turn it off, or
That might be the reason. Yeah.
We need to turn this.
another device. Do you have another
Oh,
device?
is that better?
No, not yet. Is there another device? Maybe speak slowly and we can tell.
Okay. Maybe if I turn my speaker down.
No difference, but I think we can understand you enough.
Oh well. I just wanted to thank you. I wanted to tell a little story. Goes back to when my dad was a little boy, and he revered his grandfather to show him his grandfather was really old, and it was a hot August moonlight night like now. And that old man took my dad as a little boy by the hand, and he said, "Come on, grandson, let's go for a walk on moonbeams." So I think the idea is for the grandmothers and grandfathers to join in the little people's magic, the young ones, as much as we can. Thank you, Gail, for inviting me.
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, that's a very sweet story too. Mm. Does anyone else have anything they want to share before we sing ourselves out with the gratitude song and close our wisdom keepers walking in the moonlight?
It's just lovely to see you all. I'll be there soon.
Andrew, yeah, yeah. There's
I
a
don't
lot of
travel a lot. I've never been to Colorado, so this is very new for me, but it's just a blessing to be with such wonderful beings and souls such as yourself and everybody. So
yeah, Andrew, it is a blessing. It's very sweet that we
I've
can
been
all
on
come
it.
together.
I've been on this oneness path since 1996 when I was awakened and contacted by ETs, the Elohim and the It's really cool.
Sweet. We're looking forward to your presentation, Andrew.
Thanks. Well, I don't have an exact time slot, but I'm going to be on Saturday between the groups, sharing the channel poems I received from them, and so yeah,
Mm, yeah.
and the vibrational sound healing tube. So lovely to connect here. I wasn't even aware that you were doing this until I got off the plane and I had to wait, and I saw, oh wow, you're
Yeah. Glad you joined us. Yeah. Esty, when is your time for presentation? Is that on Saturday as well?
Oh, you told me?
No, I was asking
There you go.
Esty about his
Oh,
presentation time.
So you asked me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my presentation is on Thursday, 1 to 2:30. And I will have 45 minutes and Marcello will have 45 minutes. But I will be doing storytelling and singing on Tuesday and on Saturday as well.
Beautiful.
Um, I will be at the nature circle out here. I'm really
Will that
looking
be on the
forward to
after chat or where,
that.
when will that be?
SD will probably be on the conversation.cc quite a bit. And I'm going to encourage that because people do want to be able to interact with our elders. I'm going to be on every morning from 9 o'clock Mountain Time until 11, and then coming over to conversation.cc in order for others to talk with the panelists from the Sparkling Conversations. And I very much look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much.
Yes, we will be there. It's very exciting to look forward to those conversations. I'm sure they'll be amazing.
Thank you so much.
Mhm. Is there anything else anyone would like to share before we sing our gratitude and close out for today? Okay, open your mics and join me, please, in the song from the spring here on our sacred mountain in Lakota language, because I've held traditional Lakota ceremonies here for 13 years. So the spring sings to me in Lakota language, and you're all welcome to join me, please, in closing out with this gratitude song. Tunka shalai, unchimalaye, mitak yeo, unchimaka, mini choni, ilmayaye. Ancestors, grandmothers, please share compassion on my relations. Grandmother, water is life. We are grateful. And I'm very grateful to all of you for joining in this beautiful way today. and very excited to see all of you again tomorrow with Shannon early in the morning or back in the same room she's in for the grandmother's wisdom at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, which will be 3 p.m. Eastern. And most of this will be broadcast except for some exclusive content, premium content, I think Michael calls it, with the broadcast ticket. And yes, Becky, thank you. Becky's presenting on Wednesday evening, 6:30 Eastern. So please return for that. And I'll see you as part of the grandmother's message on Monday and also on Saturday, dancing with the 4 elements that I've so looked forward to being able to dance in community on Zoom and community live at the same time. So yeah, if there's anything else that anybody wants to share, please do so, and we will be happy to hear, or we can close out and say until again, Tana Doka Ani in our traditional language, until again, which is tomorrow. Hope to see all of you tomorrow, and maybe Sylvia will play some flute music to send us out of the room with.
I was
So much
wondering,
love and gratitude to all of you.
may we sing the first lines of the Earthstock, your Earthstock anthem in closing?
Oh, thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for reminding me that I did write a song for Earthstock, and Michael's still trying to add some accompaniment. So maybe you'll get to hear the whole thing. But for now, Sylvia and I have been singing the first lines to bring us all in, and anybody's welcome to add any sounds they want to, but sing with me, Sylvia, please. And this song, the opening line did come from the dream world when I started writing this song for Earthstock. So please join us in any way you can. All about connecting, spirit to spirit healing. Commune with nature, feel your body and your soul. Mend the sacred with the whole. Learn traditional knowledge and experience each new edge of creating at the edge. Inspire your spirit to glide in endless skies. Love can surely arise, uplifting voices, outstretched arms, keeping us all from harm. Community calls in charm. Gather with nature, beauty in sight, harmony singing in the night, walking together hand in hand. In balance we stand with this land. Rivers flow with ancient grace. Footsteps, oh, I can't remember the words, in the sacred place. Walking together hand in hand, Earthstock is where we all belong. Earthstock. I'll get the words down before we get to the point where we can sing it all together, and we'll share them in the chat. Look forward to seeing you then. Much love and gratitude. And Sylvia, if you will play your flute, we will say until again. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sylvia, and all of you.